Hello everyone, it's Fike here, and today I'll be showcasing my AncientGarurumon deck profile. And I know with the new ban list that just got announced, like at least the recording of this video, it didn't really change my original deck for it, which is really good because that way I didn't really have to think about exactly what to change. And I think now with some of the key pieces hit like Pomo Yuko and Louis and whatnot, I think this could be a really decent way to play Blue Blaze. So if you guys really are interested, of course just check out the video. And I'll be showcasing this on TCG. It's just a free simulator made by AncientGarurumon and his team. So really big thanks to them. And again, it is free. And again, if you guys really like my content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And now let's just get into the deck profile. So of course, let's just get started with the deck profile. And I was running 4 Bt17 Wanya and 1 EX for Missy. Of course, since you do run blue tables, you will proc this Wanya quite often. And the Missy one is because, if you wanted to, if you do have a lot of your little guys out, you could just swing with this and then you still get the draw, which I think could be kind of nice. And if you want, you can run more of this in comparison to the Wanya, but I still think both are fine. And for my rookies, I was running 4 of the Bt17 Strawberry. And this one, I still think it's fine just because, it's a search for top 4 to grab any hybrid or Koji. And I don't run any Sasanu in this deck, but I still, again, think it's decent. And especially if you pair it up with, say, the Promo Lobo, or say if you just evo your Bt17 Ken over this and then do the warp combo with that, you still get a lot of advantage because you can, play a Koji for free and then still be able to play a different tamer, which I still really like. And of course, I run 4 of the new Strawberry. This is a little bit better just because it grabs either Hybrid or 10 Warrior and 1 Tamer with an inherent effect, so that's basically all of your Kojis. And I also do run Zoe in the deck as well, so it grabs that as well. So obviously this is still really nice, and the fact that you could play a Tamer with an inherent effect is still really good, just because, you still want a bunch of Tamers out. And even though we're reduced by 2, I don't think it's that bad since you're usually playing your Tamers for either 1 or 2, which again is still really good. Yuko is here, of course, just because it's another Sword, and I wasn't running the promo one because of the ban list, but I was just running with this one again because I kind of wanted the extra Sword. And since I was also running Taikari, I thought that if I can grab that off this, that'd be pretty nice as well. And obviously for my level 4 slots, I ended up running 4 of the new Kendo, 4 of the new Lobo, and then 2 of the promo Lobomon. This Kendo I really love just because it's just fantastic overall because of the when attacking you automatically draw, so you just trigger both of your Kojis, and then the fact that you could digivolve into a hybrid for reduced cost is really cool because if you go into, say, the Bt7 Beowulf, that's basically free if you have a tamer under it, along with the fact that it enables this warp combo, which is really nice, so that way you can do 2 damage instead of 1 normally, and I just love that. And if you straight digicross with this and this, you automatically get to refill your hand if you're really early in the game, which is really nice. And again, just really cool card. And the warp Lobo, you obviously do need at least 4 off just because of the fact that combos really well with this, and obviously you just want to warp into your ancient as soon as possible. And this one is because I was playing blue base, and you could go over any of your 2 strawberries here, and it actually really pairs up really well with the strawberry just because the fact that again you could die, and then once you die you automatically get to play a Koji and a different tamer with your ancient, and I just really like that combo, and I really do like the warp Lobo. Now moving on to the ultimates, and in this case I was running 3 of the new Beowulf and 2 of the Bt7 one. And I still really like this Beowulf, and I admit you could probably lower this down for more of this and a Jet Selfie, but I still think this is really solid, mainly because of the when digivolving, because say if you don't have a unblockable Koji on the border ready that can attack, you could basically warp into this, stop something from suspending, and then you could swing for game because again it could get around blockers or whatnot, and I still really like it for that. And the when attacking, I can imagine can kind of mess over wide boards, because say if you bounce something with AncientGarurumon and then you just swing with that and then you could bounce something else, I think that can be pretty good. And of course this Beowulf is just really good because of the fact that it was for 104 Tamer, along with the fact that you can swing with it, bounce one of your hybrids to hand to bounce level 4 and still get one of the Koji's effects. Is still really good. Now we go on to the Megas, and of course I run full AncientGarurumon. This is again pretty much your big boss monster, and it didn't get hit on the ban list, so you still run full of it no matter what. And again, it's just overly insane just because of the fact that you bounce security, you can bounce opponent's Digimon, and on deletion, you pretty much just grab back any hybrid and a tamer and just free play a tamer, which I absolutely love because if you suicide a tamer stack, you pretty much just get free play that. And the one Mirage I think can be kind of funny. If you really want to, you could bump this up or just not win at all. But I think the combination of Mirage plus AncientGarurumon can be really devastating because this would bounce the security, and say if you haven't used the Eurotone effect of AncientGaru already, this pretty much bounces another security. So that's really great, unless say if you bounce a Digimon, you still bounce the security. But overall, I think both of these can provide really funny control and can make it just a little bit more annoying for your opponent to deal with. Now let's move on to some Tamers, and in this case I was running 2 Taikari from BT9 and 2 Zoe from BT7. This one of course is just for a hybrid of 10 Warrior Soul Draft security, so you can keep grabbing more hybrids and your AncientGarurumon, since you do only one full, and sometimes one of them is just naturally in security. And this one is really nice just because if people start rushing you out, you can gain extra memory, and I think the -2 to security can still be really helpful just because say if you don't have the jamming Koji, you could just hopefully use this to make your stuff live a little bit more often. And of course we have 4 of each of the Kojis, that being of course the BT7 one and the BT17 one. This one I still really love because of the fact that it can give you jamming for a really easy condition, just because again the Kendo draws, and again you're going to draw a decent amount in the deck, and the fact that the memory set was also really good because Koji didn't have that before, so I really love that. And the BT7 one is also really good because again you could use stuff like Kendo, or say if you just have one of your rookies out with Wanyo under, you could swing, draw, still gain the effect. And the unblockable is pretty good just because again it just gets around so much. The only thing it really doesn't get around is something like Tyrant, but again it is what it is sometimes. But overall you want to see both these as much as possible if you ask me, because again these hybrids evolve for 2 of them, and I just like it for that. Now we move on to the rest of the deck, that being just the options, and in this case I was running 2 Crimson Blades just again to deal with some of the meta decks, and I believe even after the ban list you might still see some rush decks here and there, but again this is probably going to change, but we'll have to see for future results. Heavens is just here because you do want some dual color stuff, so I think it'd be kind of useful. And I think you do need 3 of the Ancient Guardian Deity, just because again it can recycle your Ancients and any hybrid, and it could just play your Ancient for 2 possibly, because you would end up ditching crossing and whatnot. Or again it could just play a Tamer with a Heron effect, and that's just again really good for a 2 cost option. And again you could play it for free pretty much if you have like a Tamer, which you're almost always going to have. Now we move on to some suggested cards, and if you want to go red base still, you do have some Digimons, that be Bt12 and Bt17. This obviously kills off rookies. This can add to your Crimson Blaze, and Colemon's just a good draw card. These 2 are pretty much the same thing. You want draws, and I think the 2 Flamons are still pretty nice just because again if you go red base, basically the same thing as Strawberry more or less, and this is another draw card which is really good. And if you still want to go blue base, I think this Strawberry could be kind of nice just because again since you would be swinging with hybrids, you can get memory back. This one is just another soldier, and I guess if you want to just, you could say put in the BT4 Flame, but this one also grabs blue Tamer, so that's why. And if you want to do a Garurumon base with the Ancient Garurumon stuff, I think you definitely do need this one along with the EX1, along with the 2 X forms, just because they such are Garurumons. And this one of course it's on suspend if you have a bond of friendship, which I imagine you're gonna run. And this one is just another Tamer Search. And if you want to do a Galmon bottom end, this one I think it's still kind of good. And the trash effect isn't the worst just because again you can grab back some pieces with it, and again you could pretty much run the whole Galga line if you wanted to. But again I think in this case I think the Pimon base could actually be funny, at least relating to hopefuls, because I think that base could be kind of funny just because again you could run this along with the promo and the BT11 line, just because I think, they do really work well. The Tamo is at least a little bit better than the Garurumon line, and this one does gain you back memory if you play a Tamo, which I think could be really helpful in a lot of cases. Then we have the Bt17 Gabumon, and I think this would be kind of nice if you want to add more Soul Strip stuff. And the Gabumon here is just because it's probably one of your better Gabumons if you just want to, again, run a Gabu base. The Kaku and the Kumamon are just here if you want one, say, Tommy and whatnot. And again, the Soul Strip way can still be kind of funny sometimes. And obviously you would want to run these just to, stun and stuff. And the Vidras, again, if you want to run the All Force base, these two are pretty much your best ones. And I still really do like the promo, just because I can add Vidra and any blue Tamo, which is really helpful. And if you want to run some aces, I think the Zulumon ace and the Manga Andra and AncientGarurumon ace are probably your best bets, just because again, they will cover DP minus and they'll bounce stuff in the case of Zulumon. And since a lot of your stuff all dual yellow, I think the BTH Shakumon could be kind of funny just for a random recover, along with a potential bounce if you do end up DNA. Moving on to some megas, I think that the BT11 All Force is your best All Force if you want to run the V base, just because again it bounces stuff and it plays blue Tamos for free. If you want to, you could also of course run the All Force X, but I think if you're also running the AncientGarurumon, you don't really need as much, so I think this is fine enough. And of course, if you want to, the Secret Mega Gurumon is also really good, and even if you don't run the Gabu base, I think just evoing this over your Beowulf is still really good, because it still stops stuff from suspending, and the evade I still think is extremely powerful, so no matter what, just overall good generic card. And of course Venus is here because you do run yellow level 5s, so this could still really helpful to stop your opponent from of course activating the Digivolving and whatnot, so you might want it if your meta in your local area is just focus on that stuff. And the Gabumon here is of course just if you want to run the Gabu base, and I think this is still a really fantastic card, just because again it could suspend up to like 3 times if you also have the Gabumon, if I remember correctly, so again that's just really good. Now moving on to some Tamos, and of course if you're running the Gabu Bond stuff, you kind of do need the BT6 mat, and the promo Louis does kind of hold the deck, but I still think it can be kind of nice and very powerful, just because of the fact that this one does exist, and you gain memory and drawing just for having it out is still really good. And of course if you want to run Tommy, I feel it could be a funny alternate way to play Blue Highway, just because again you still have this in combination with Koji, can probably make a really annoying deck. And of course you do need Renas if you want to run the All Full stuff, so if you can't get it, then don't worry about it. I just think the All Fulls line is a really fun way and a really alternate way to play the deck, so if you can't, don't worry, but you kind of do need this one. I think BT50 Mat is also kind of nice, just because again it does grab AncientGarurumon, and it does gain memory when you add cards to your hand, which AncientGarurumon does want to do with some of its cards, so I think that it's a really solid blue Tamo. But the only downside is that the new stuff can't really evo over it, so that sucks, but again, you're mostly going to use like just other cards to win, hopefully. And then I think BT6 TK and Kari is still really good. I think it's probably one of the better yellow Tamos, just because again it gains you 2 memory if you're low on security, so obviously that can help you just finish out game here and there, just because again out of all the memory gain you probably gain from this, along with the dual Tai and Kari. And for removal options, I just think these two are probably your best blue ones. A lot of yellow is just a lot of DP minus, so if you want to run any others like Vibrant Breath you could, but this obviously is just a bounce to hand, and this is just a bomb deck, so whichever one you prefer. And if you want to run other yellow options, go ahead. I just didn't put much in, just because of the fact that again there's like 33 cards here, so I didn't really want to go too much into it, but again these are 2 really good solid blue removal stuff. And this is pretty much a blue hybrid list that I think can still be pretty decent. And I know with the balance it just kind of hurt like red base just a little bit, because you do lose out on the other Yukumon, but I still think that the BT61 is still really solid, because you still get Surge out of it, so I think the 1 cost can kind of like alleviate it, and since you are a hybrid deck, you can still evo over your Tamos, so it's not the biggest loss I think. And again, I just think that the Surge is way more valuable in this case, just because you need a lot of your pieces, especially for the Warp combo. But again, let me know what you guys really like about Blue Hybrid, and at least comment your list down below, and just talk about it. And again, thank you for staying to the end of the video. If you guys liked it, of course, like, comment, subscribe, and see you guys later.